Donald Trump said that he still does that today, and I thought that's a good idea. I started to put it in action, and it worked out, right? And so, before I move on through the struggle, I want to say that, I share this all over the place, and people always remind me of it, and Joe reminded me of today. He sent me a text through lunch of what I shared, and I just want to share it with somebody, because on the mission field, we were in Egypt, and there was this guy that came with me, and he had been on the mission field for 40 or 50 years, and he came up and he shared with these people, and he didn't say much, and he said, I want to leave you with this. He said, one day fear came knocking at the door. And he said, faith opened up the door, and there was nobody there. Just going to let that sink in for a second, okay? One day fear came knocking on the door, right? The boogeyman came knocking at the door, and faith opened it up and said, what's up? And there was nobody there. And that's what we have to do. So through the struggle, that's what you have to be willing to confront. Why would you run from something that's not there? Why would you bow the knee to something that's not there? Fear, the acronym of fear, what do they call it? The false evidence appearing real? Is that what that is? That's what it is. It's not real. It's the power that you give it. Here it is. Your imagination is so powerful that you could work yourself up into a stroke right now. Have you ever had people that go, I shouldn't eat this food. My friend, eats it, and they break out in hives, and they'll go, I'm going to try to eat it, and all of a sudden they're like, man, I hope that doesn't happen to me. And then you start going into the whole thing, right? It's like people that eat kiwi and they get canker sores, right? They're like, most people aren't even allergic to it, but they're like, my friend gets canker sores, and then they end up getting them too. Your mind is so powerful, right? Your imaginations, okay? And what we need to do in the struggle is take control of that imagination and point it against fear. You point it against it. Right? Your imagination, that creativity, it's a divine creativity that every single person in this room has. And it's a gift. And if you point it in the right direction, you can go as far as you can see. You can go as far as you can see. I'm going to say it again. You can go as far as you can see. If you just get a hold of your imaginations. Right? I remember I was in Egypt, and I went down into the pyramids. And all the way to the bottom, right? Went through the tunnels and opened up into this big cave, and then I opened up and went further. And I went all the way to the back of this room, and I don't know why, but I saw this little hole in the back of the room. I could not go further in this wall, right? And I was like, I wonder if there's another cave back in there, right? And all of a sudden, all the lights went out. And I'm like, now I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, was there an earthquake? There's hundreds of people in there with me, and I'm in the very, very back. And they're all screaming and yelling. I'm thinking they're going to suck up all the oxygen. I'm going to be the last one here. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. It was darkness like I've never felt in my entire life. And I can tell you that it took every ounce of strength in my mind, in my heart, in my DNA, just to keep from going crazy. Because my imagination started just racing. And I remember just being there. And I've been sharing this because I believe that it happened for a reason. Because, everybody has the boundary of fear in their life. And some have been so far down to where they look at death and they're like, I've been faced with death and war, so it's not a big deal to me. Everybody has boundaries, right? Somebody's afraid of somebody saying, boo, I don't want to do Nutri. And you're like, they said no, I'm quitting. Right? Some of you need to get past that boundary. But I remember being so freaked out, I literally came to that point where I thought, I'm going to lose my mind if I don't get a hold of myself right now. And I just started speaking over my life, and I started speaking over my destiny. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to do great things. I'm going to do what I was called to do. And I'm saying, courage, rise up, come up right now, come up. I'm saying this in my mind, and then through that, I could hear everybody talking, and then all of a sudden their whispers had disappeared. And and they all found their way out, and I had to find my way out of the pyramids in the dark, through these tunnels, right? It was only one tunnel, you just had to keep going forward, right? But still, it's like probably 1,000 yards down. Has anybody been in the pyramids before? Have you know what I'm talking about? It's freaky, especially in the dark. And I had to keep talking to myself all the way out to get out, right? And that's what we need to do in the struggle, right? You need to speak things over your life. If you need to write it on the mirror, put it on a piece of paper and have a sticky note everywhere around you. I remember, when I was flat freaking broke before I stepped into real estate or network marketing or anything, I knew because somebody that was worth 40 or 50 million dollars said, it does not take money to make money, it takes knowledge to make money and the right attitude. And so I started taking like the scriptures that I found, and I started taking good quotes, solid quotes, and I put sticky notes all over, like in the mirror, at the refrigerator, before I went out the door, everything to remind me that I was not going to stay in this place. And you have to fight for that struggle, and nobody can do that, again, except you, right? Some of you guys want to be on this platform and you want to speak and you want to share your testimony so bad, and we want to hear you. And then some of you have a testimony that's still ahead of you, that you have to earn. But always remember this: if you ever get up here and you share, I promise you, you will be sharing out of your experience. If you don't have that experience, what would you talk about? Where would wisdom come from? Right? If you've ever heard a speaker talk about something he just learned, right, from somebody else saying it, the words fall to the ground. They just fall to the ground. There's no life. There's no life.